Thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk along with Zac Summers. We are talking behind the stories once again today. And today I think may be my favorite, Zac, so far. I'm going to put it out there.
It's one of my favorites, too.
Yeah, it's a good story. So basically a Jayhawk graduate is in space currently. She's still up there. Right? And she is making history. If we take a look at that video, you can see it now here on your screen. Zac covered it, and he is going to take us behind the story to tell us a little bit more about what inspired him to go after this story. Zac, tell us a little bit more about this woman.
Well, you know, I have to give credit to Heidi Schmidt, one of our assignment editors, who really stayed on top of this story because we originally wanted to interview Laurel O'Hara when she launched into space back in September. But she obviously was busy, so we sort of had to wait until NASA reached back out to us.
That is insane.
And they finally got in touch with us back in December and said, hey, you want to interview Laurel O'Hara? You can do that while she's up in space. So it took a lot of planning, but it was really fun. And you know, when we talk about the planning, like, just to talk to Laurel, you know, she's on board the ISS some 250 miles up from the Earth's surface rather. But the logistics of talking to her, so there was a lot of back and forth with NASA, obviously, but then the day of the interview, we had to like dial in with NASA like an hour and a half before we even interviewed her. Because there was a lot of technical stuff between Houston, the ISS, and us.
Yeah.
Which we kind of played into at the beginning of the story. When you hear, like, the Houston saying, station, are you ready for the event? Like, there was this whole script that they gave us that we had to
I
say
love
verbatim, just to kind of dial in with Laurel. But it was a really great interview. They gave us 20 minutes to talk to her, and obviously we talked to her about everything, including, you know, she graduated from the University of Kansas back in the early 2000s. So she talks about her time there. She really fell in love with the city, the campus, and of course their engineering program. And, you know, she's one of only 4 graduates from KU to go off and become an astronaut. So they are, you know, she's a huge role model for a lot of engineering students there. So we actually were able to talk with one of her former professors.
Right.
Who's still at KU. He's the chair of the department that she graduated from. So it was just really fun.
Yeah. Dr. Rick Hill.
Yeah, Rick Hill. Yeah. He talked to us about, like, you know, he said Laurel came in freshman year and was like, I'm going to become an astronaut.
I love that.
And he kind of talks about what it's like to see one of his former students living out her dreams. But, you know, the other, like, history-making part of all of this is the fact that, you know, she is only one of, like, 4 all-female teams to conduct a spacewalk.
That's awesome.
And a spacewalk, if you're not familiar with that, is when the astronauts leave the ISS. They go out, they have to be in the suits, and these can take hours. And so it's really special because we not only talk to Laurel, but there's another astronaut up there with her, Jasmine Lobelli, and the two actually trained at NASA.
I was going to say that.
Together. So they talk about how special it was to be a part of this spacewalk where they spent
Here's a shot of them
several
both.
hours outside of the space station. And when they're out there, they're doing experiments. They're doing maintenance sometimes, so it can take, again, hours to do.
Tell us a little bit more. Does she kind of break down their daily routine and how that all works out?
Yeah, and that's I'm glad you mentioned that because we don't get into that all that much in the package. But yeah, she told us, you know, obviously when we interviewed her, we just passed Christmas.
Right.
So she talked about how, like, well, one, she says they do a lot of work up there, but they do get downtime, and a lot of that's just spent with
downtime is just funny.
A lot of that's just spent with each other. And the other thing she said, she's gotten into photography a lot.
Okay.
And they just pass the time just by like hanging out with one another. She did tell me though what she is looking forward to most.
And what's that?
Is running water.
Oh.
Because as you can imagine, it's a little different up there. So she's like, a nice shower. Can't wait.
So when does she officially touch down?
So she's supposed to come back to Earth late March, early April. So she'll be back soon enough. And you know, originally she was supposed to be up in space sooner than she launched. But there were some things that happened technically that delayed the launch. But they made it, and she's up there with 7 other folks. Some of them have been up there longer than she has.
Yeah, and it looks like we have a viewer here that may know her. So she is making a lot of people proud. But again, going back to KU, she's making the Jayhawks proud as well. And she's really kind of setting the standards. But I mean, cheers to her. She is doing some amazing things again. And she's there with one of her peers. There's a shot of both of them on our website, kctv5.com. But Zach, I just want to give you props once again, because this is an amazing story.
Well, and props to Matt Klein
and Heidi,
my photographer, who was on this. The edit, it's great, and again Heidi for just staying on top of it, because it all worked out. And just, you know, KU actually, Laurel, she's actually going to speak tomorrow. Sort of what she did with us with the interview, but she's going to do it with KU with their engineering department.
Oh, cool.
So the students there will get to kind of have that experience that I had with her about a month ago when we conducted the interview.
And they might just show her this story here. So
they may.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll have to get another follow-up interview with her once she touches back down, maybe in March.
Yes, but she lives in Houston.
Okay,
so
well,
that might be a tough one.
Maybe she can stop by just for a few, I don't know, but just wishful thinking there. But a great story. If you do want to check it out, it is posted on our website right now, kctv5.com, coming from Zac Summers, and it'll also be airing the full story at 10 p.m. tonight. Zach, thank you so much for joining me for Behind the Story today.
For sure.